everyone. This is caring for plants at home and specifically mint plants, like in the background here. My name is Susie and this is Chloe, and we are going to be talking about how to care for your mint plant. So first, I just wanted to give you a little information about our organization, Grow NYC. We protect the environment, create green spaces, help people stay healthy, and give them opportunity to make a positive impact. And we work in 4 areas. Conservation is our work with zero waste programs. We collect food scraps that get turned into compost. We talk to people about recycling and other conservation related programs. We have green spaces, and that is our work with community gardens, school gardens, and the teaching garden on Governor's Island, which is where Chloe works. Food access and agriculture is our program that works with providing food, regional, local, healthy, tasty food grown around the New York area and bringing it here to New York through our green markets and other food access sites, as well as our work with farmers. And then our 4th area is education, which we do in all of these other areas. Whoops, did I miss one? Oh. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Chloe, who will talk about mint.
All right, thanks. So I'm going to talk really broadly about mint and then about how to take care of it either in your house or in your yard, your community garden, any place like that. The first step is to make sure that we actually have a mint plant, right? So there's one really easy way to recognize the mint family, and that's that they have a square stem like this picture. They also probably have a very familiar smell. And the way that you'll find the smell, sometimes you can just walking past it, you can smell it, but if you rub the leaves, you'll actually release the oils that will make the smell stronger. You'll smell it on your hands and in the air. So that's one really easy way to recognize. Other plants in the mint family that are going to have this square stem are other like aromatic herbs like basil and rosemary and lavender. So anything with this square stem is probably going to have that really strong, lovely smell. And it's found in most parts of the world. There are many, many, many kinds of mint. There are many kinds of basil. This plant family is very widespread around the world. So you never know where you find it. So we're just going to go over basics of how to care for your plants. And we'll cover what kinds of containers you can use, how much sun it needs, what kind of water and how much, how to harvest from it, and how to store that harvest, and also how to use it. So we'll start with containers. Basically anything that you can think of that either has holes in the bottom or you can poke holes into the bottom of is a great pot. Can be any kind of material. If you are growing something that you're going to eat, you want to make sure that it's a food safe container. So for example, Susie's showing a yogurt container. So that contained food already. So that's perfectly safe to plant in. If you're going to use something like, I don't know, something that came with paint or something in it, you're only going to use those for plants that you're not going to eat. So yogurt containers are great, water jugs, anything else, a takeout container from food. You can also use store-bought pots, obviously. So plastic, ceramic, anything like that. Mint is not picky about what the container is made out of. It's also not picky about the size, but the larger your container is, hi, Carmen. The larger that your container is, the more mint you're going to get. So mint is going to spread right on that soil surface. So the more room it has to spread, the more places it's going to pop up and give you mint leaves, which is usually what you want.
So Chloe, can I use those like the takeout containers that are sort of flat? Would that be a good idea?
So your mint might grow in that for a little while, but you'll probably have better luck if you have a container that's at least a few inches deep. So maybe like at least 3 or 4 inches deep. That's going to give you more room for the roots to grow.
Great.
And then the next requirement, as with all plants, is sun or some kind of light. The ideal for a mint plant is going to be a south-facing window in your apartment or outside with south-facing light. Not always possible. And if you really don't have any place that has a decent amount of direct light, about 6 hours, then you can always supplement with a lamp. You don't need anything fancy. I have a lamp that I got for $10 off of Amazon that I use for some of my houseplants in the winter, and it works great. If you're using a lamp, you just want to make sure that the light is about a foot above the top of your leaves. So you don't want to burn the leaves. You don't want it to be too close, and you don't want it to be too far away that it's actually diluted and it wouldn't act the same as direct sunlight. Mint can also absolutely go outdoors. So if you don't have a sunny window, but you do have balcony, a fire escape, a garden that you can put it in, it would also be very happy with that. And the fun part, harvesting your mint. So ideally you have a nice container, you have enough sunlight that it's growing all these beautiful new leaves. It might grow some new shoots. It might look like it's gonna flower. And in all of those cases, you're gonna wanna harvest. And usually some people have the instinct to just pick off leaves, and that's fine. That won't hurt the plant, but the ideal way to harvest is to cut it or pinch it right above any set of leaves. So you might be able to see on mine, there's actually new little leaves coming out right there, right here. So I can pinch this. And what's going to happen is each one of these is going to shoot out and make a new stem. And that's going to give you a nice bushy plant with a lot more leaves on it. And since usually what we're harvesting for is the leaves, the ideal plant is a bushy one with lots of leaves on it. You definitely want to harvest it whenever you see flower buds starting, because when that happens, the plant is going to put all its energy into those flower buds instead of making more leaves. And if you, for some reason, need a lot of mint, you can absolutely harvest this all at once. So you can take off 70% of the leaves on your mint plant. It will be fine. It will grow back. So you don't have to be, it's pretty hardy. You don't have to be too gentle, too cautious with it. I just took off about half of this stem. This, if I put it in the soil or in water, it'll keep growing. This is plenty of leaves for it. So one of the things that you can do when you harvest is make new mint plants. So all of these mint plants came from the teaching garden on Governor's Island, from our mint beds. Susie got a picture behind her of what that looks like. It's very full of mint. We harvest from it every week, sometimes multiple times a week, and it just continues to grow. And the way that we started all of the plants was just as this picture shows, putting a piece of your original plant in some water or directly in soil. And all you need to do is take these leaves off the bottom. And wherever you took the leaves off, you're opening up a place where it can start to form new roots. So you take these leaves off, and I could put this in some water or directly in soil and give it a couple of weeks, and it'll grow a whole new plant. And you can do that endlessly. So you can share it with your friends. You can also store it in water like that. So you can, if you look closely in this picture, you can see there's actually some roots starting on the bottom there.
Sorry, hi. If you see a little paw showing up, that's my cat. So jumped at my lap just now. Okay, so I always like to throw in some fun facts about things that we're talking about. This just like random facts. Mint was used in ancient times. As we all know, mint is very aromatic. So it was sprinkled on the floors in temples. So when you would walk in, you would have that lovely smell coming up. They would rub the leaves onto banquet tables, and they would also sprinkle into baths, which we didn't mention that, but that's a way you could use mint too. If you take baths, you can absolutely put mint in and it'll smell nice. The United States produces 70% of the world's peppermint oil. So these are oils that are used to flavor all kinds of things, from chewing gum to candy to I don't know, anything that's made with peppermint oil. A lot of it comes from the Northwest, from Idaho, Washington, that region. And menthol, where a lot of us hear the word menthol, we don't always know what menthol is. Menthol is extracted from peppermint, and it gives us a sensation, a cooling sensation. So if you've ever noticed that mint kind of makes you feel cool, you're not making that up. It's from the menthol in the mint. And so sometimes mint or menthol is used in medicines to help you feel cooler. And I'll turn it back to you, Chloe.
Yeah, so we've sort of casually mentioned a couple of uses, right? But when we're talking about mint as like a culinary plant, tea obviously is a very common one. Cocktails or mocktails, if you prefer no alcohol, it pairs really well with berries or citrus. Along with the menthol, which can cool you. Mint is also really good for your digestion. So a lot of people will have mint tea after a big meal or something like that. And some cultures also pair it with savory dishes. So mint and peas is a really common one. There's a lot of like herb sauces that will include mint along with other herbs. And I just want to mention here that if you picked up a plant from us, you might have seen that there were a few different looking plants. They're all mint, but there are different kinds of mint. All of the ones that we gave you could be used in any of these ways, including in the bath or anything else that we've mentioned today. So there's 4 kinds that you may have gotten. One of them is peppermint. It's a chocolate mint. It doesn't taste like chocolate. I think it's called chocolate mint because the stems are sort of purpley brown. That's what this one is that I have here. So it has sort of darker leaves, a darker stem. That's the peppermint. And then we also had a spearmint, which is a lighter green, and it's sort of rough looking leaves here, crinkly. So for comparison, this is a peppermint and this is a spearmint. The other 2 I don't have samples of. There's one that's called ginger mint that has smaller leaves. They're thinner, they're more delicate. And then apple mint, which is larger leaves and they're kind of fuzzy and thick. They can all be used interchangeably. They might have slightly different flavors. So some of them are a little bit sweeter or a little more menthol or less menthol. So everybody has their preferences. There are hundreds of kinds of mint, and these were just the ones that we grow.
Actually, right here, this is chocolate mint, right?
That looks like our spearmint.
It's spearmint.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the cold will also turn it a little bit purple. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at the leaves look crinkly.
Speaking of the cold, so
Yeah.
I grabbed one of these plants, and some of the plants that came out were looking really, so for people who came in a little bit late, you can transplant into any kind of container. So this is an old yogurt container I had, and I transplanted. This is a really nice looking mint plant. It's pretty healthy and it's in nice condition. And then this was one of the plants I have not yet transplanted. It's very tiny. You can see it's only like sorry. Yeah, and so this one is still pretty small, and its leaves got a little, not really burned, cold probably.
But Susie, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know that you warned me before I started distributing them because of the cold. The leaves got brown, right? Of course, a lot of my participants started going back and forth. Oh, this plant looks better. Why mine look too brown? Why hers looks better? La la la, right? But I did distribute most of them, so I only got 3 left, thank God. But what happens, because I took one home, right? And usually the sun comes from the kitchen window on the top. So I left it on top of my refrigerator, but it's not moving. It looks like it's dying more. So should I replant it in another pot? What will be your best suggestion for those that get it in that little, and feel like, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. It should be fine and nothing is happening.
Do you want to take that, Chloe?
I think be patient. Especially with the winter coming and the days are shorter. So even if you have a sunny window, it's getting a little bit less sun, right? And that goes for outdoor plants too. This is from an outdoor mint plant, and it's getting brown. It's getting weird, right? Like it's not the best time of year for starting plants. So I would be patient. I would leave it at least for a week. Make sure you're keeping it, you're not letting it dry out completely. You're keeping it a little bit wet, but not like muddy or anything like that. And what could be happening is the plant could be working on